Good morning and welcome. It's Good Morning Anambra show. Today is Tuesday, the 31st day of December 2024, and it is the last Tuesday in the year 2024. And of course, this Tuesday will never come again. And we thank God that we made it to the last day in the month of December, and of course the last day in the year 2024. We're so delighted to be counted amongst the living today. Thank you so much for always waking up with ABS on Good Morning Anambra show. My name is Nonye Nwokoye, welcoming you and urge you to sit tight, for we are poised to make your day worth the while. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's now begin with the press review. All right, you're welcome to the press review. This is a time we take a look at some of our national dailies to see the news trending. And of course, we take a look at ABS website. And we've been joined this morning by a public affairs analyst, Tochukwu Okafor, an engineer. You're welcome to the studios of Good Morning.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
All right, let's begin with taking a look at some of the stories trending on ABS website. Now, Otuodo Women's Association, NENI, gives succor to Trinitarian Foundation for Orphan. Attacks on security operatives in Ihiala. CP Etam visits the scene on a sport assessment. Others immediate manhunt of the assailants. Atweyi family ought celebrate matriarch with Thanksgiving Mass. Goodies Nation plans to partner government in regenerative agriculture. Abga Chieftain Odele drums support for Soludo. Yuletide cleric Ndobisi urges Christians to focus on raising for the season. And Warri Refinery commences operations. Russia to punish those responsible for downing Azerbaijan Airlines plane. These are some of the stories making the headlines on ABS website this morning.
Yeah, quite impressive. I would like to comment on Otuodo Women Group, giving succor to the helpless and the less privileged and orphans in the society. It's quite commendable because this is the reason for the season. The whole of Christmas and festivities, celebration and all that is, the whole essence is to give to the less privileged. That is what the person we are celebrating is birth encourage us to be doing. That is the love of Christ we are preaching as Christians and whichever religion, because every religion talks about humanity. Every religion talks about love peace, and in fact, this is the common symbol for all religion. I don't know whether there's any religion that talks about hatred, that says you should hate your neighbor. Both Hinduism, whatever religion, all about love, love, love. So when I see people giving to the less privileged, because the situation of this country and the way it is, even those people that are privileged enough, that are finding it so difficult to cope with the economic reality of this current situation, administration, and everything. So what about those people that doesn't have anybody to give them? According to the news, the wife of the Tony Mars group chairman, that is the Enukeme, he's the one that spearheaded, that led the group, and it's quite commendable. And I also encourage other women in Nigerians to look closely around your area, your side, everywhere. You see people that need help, many currently now. The economy is not smiling, and people are helpless. So many orphanage homes, they don't even see much people that comes in. Unlike what we used to have, people effortlessly goes in to give to the less privileged in orphanage homes. But this time around, the number of visits has dwindled because of the economic reality. So those people that are privileged also remember the less privileged is the reason for the season that we are. Thank you.
All right, let's look at the other story here before we move on. What actually happened at Ihiala yesterday and the visit of the Commissioner of Police to see things for himself.
That's what we are talking about. Insecurity is on the rampage. There is no section of the country that is secured, and that is the blunt truth. And it's quite unfortunate. You see, in fact, before the Christmas celebration, you see how many kidnapping issues and people are coming back for Christmas. Some of them were kidnapped. I saw one footage on the social media, 2 vehicles, they were coming back for Christmas and they were kidnapped, and they all the goods that they came back with. I mean, everything, their household items scattered on the road and all that. This is not good at all. And even though that, people are just tired of staying outside their home country, even outside Nigeria or even in Lagos or any other part of Nigeria, some people, even there is insecurity, but most people said, I must travel. Some people vehemently insisted to travel because they cannot stay in another man's land forever. There has been increasing insecurity. And I've not seen the government have not done much. They have not. They have not done much. Somebody was commenting yesterday, traveling from Sokoto to Zamfara. As at 2011 or 2012, 2019, the man said he effortlessly plied that road without any issue. But this time around, he can't try to travel from Sokoto to Guza, that's the Zamfara state. He cannot, because that road is a dead zone now. Herdsmen, bandits, and they've kidnapped several people along that road. And these things happen, and federal government, even in the last presidential media chat, the president was saying that Nigeria is somehow more secure than it's not true. Because the statistics we are having shows that the other time, a statistics firm come up and brought out some statistics, a number of amount of ransom that was paid a long time, 2024 and all that. It's a huge amount. I don't know how they generate those amounts anyway, how they got about the statistics, because I don't know whether, but these are what we see on a regular basis. If you check what has been happening, how people have been complaining of increasing kidnapping.
We just pray and hope that something will happen one day. This saying that once there is life, there is hope. Let's hope that one day or someday our nation will go back to what it used to be, a peaceful nation where you can move from one state to the other without any cause for alarm. All right, let's move now to the first paper for review this morning, which is the Blueprint newspaper. In front of the Blueprint, we have Warri Refinery reopening, Israel plant running, Kyari tells Nigerians. We tried as there is a remarkable way to end year 2024, says the elated Tinubu. And Nupeng hails restreaming CNPP task NNPCL on transparent oil sales. We also have other stories making their headlines this morning on Blueprint. Terrorism financing. EFCC gets nod to freeze 24 bank accounts. Tinubu, Obasanjo, other world leaders mourn ex-US President Jimmy Carter. And still on the, we are fully prepared for H3 2025 UTME. That's coming from JAM. First Bank reshapes leadership in strategic overhaul ahead of 2025. Now on sports, national teams will give Nigerians joy in 2025. These are predictions for the coming year. All right, let's quickly look at some of these stories.
Okay. Kyari was saying Warri Refinery reopening in Israel. I don't know why he made that comment. Or I don't know whether he's arguing with anybody whether it's real or not. He said it's real. That means...
I think Nigeria is long overdue for reopening. Nigerians have been calling on them to do something about the prevailing, cost of petrol.
Petrol, yes, yes. But he added that it's real, meaning that maybe there has been past one that people presume not to be real. Just like what happened in the Port Harcourt refinery. They said they've started operation and eventually news started coming up. Even
what do you say about elected Tinubu? It's only caring that this...
Well, there are some shenanigans we see in this country, and sometimes we just like what happened during the Buhari administration. Nigeria Air, you know what happened? Nigeria Air shenanigans. They came, they went to Ethiopia they brought an airplane, and then all the whatever snap pictures, and eventually everything now came to open that this is not real.
So that's why you're asking why he said this one is real.
So the Port Harcourt came up, and after people came out and said, no, this is not true. They just brought petroleum products, and then so these are the things that. But my take is that if those refineries have started production, at least we expect to see drastic reduction in the price of petrol, because before you are telling us that you are important. That is why you must sell according to the worldwide price. Then you are producing here. Why are we not seeing anything? The Port Harcourt has started. We are not even seeing much. Now, what they have started, according to what they said now.
Don't be faster than your shadow. You said that it's the best news to end 2024. Okay. So probably from tomorrow.
That was how Buhari came up with the best news to end his administration, like giving us Nigerian Air. Because it was at the last period of his administration that they launched that Nigerian Air, and they snapped pictures and everything before the whole bubble now busted. So I don't know what. Well, we pray. Let it be real. According
like
to
I said earlier, we keep hope alive. Now the Punch newspaper is next for us to take a look at. And this story still the Warri refinery, standing tall as the banner headlights in front of that paper. Marketers project price drop as production resumes. The Punch newspaper, that's what we are looking at. The Punch is the next in our lineup here. Now, Warri refinery marketers project price drop as production resumes. With riders, the operators foresee stiffer competition among local refiners await Kaduna refinery. Now, Tinubu, Obasanjo world leaders eulogize Qatar. NLC ops fear rising inflation over failed food import policy. Wike's camp protest as Fubara presents budget to three-man assembly. Ogun, Ekiti, Osun, others signed 2025 appropriation bill. Ogun mechanic jailed 6 years for stealing customer's car. Insecurity, IPOP tackles Soludo faults governor on Kano's release. Still on the Punch, tax bills, PDP others back Mohammed as presidency knocks governor. FG votes 53 billion naira for 103 foreign missions renovation. Now, Tinubu should probe 436 deaths in accidental bombings. Amnesty speaking. These are some of the stories we are trending this morning from the Punch newspaper.
Okay. The tax bill of 18, PDP others back Mohammed. Back Mohammed, the president knocks the governor. I mean, this tax bill of 18 it has generated several controversy and all that. And the last presidential media chat, the first presidential media chat that President Tinubu had, he also said that despite the issue that has been generated by the tax bill, that it must be passed.
Now, there's this question that keeps popping up in my mind, that if things are actually running for the people, will people ever complain of tax payment? Because sometimes you hear people that live abroad, the huge tax they pay.
Yes.
Plus, they don't complain as we do, because it seems things are really working the way it should.
Yes,
so why can't we copy the same?
Well, if you pay tax and you are seeing the effect of the tax you are paying, just like all the Western world, and you pay, you see the benefit of it, then you won't complain. But in this issue of tax bill, it's the political class that is complaining. And when you see them complain, there is an issue. There's something that they're supposed to benefit and they're not benefiting. Let me tell you the simple truth about this tax bill. It will benefit every Nigerian. Let me tell you why. currently now, the sharing formula that they are using for this tax now, the VAT and everything, when you go to supermarket and buy anything, you pay VAT, you pay everything. I mean, 15 naira, and your transaction, bank charge, and all those things. FRS collect all this money. It gets to federal government. Federal government collects 15% of that money monthly. The fact the allocation they are sharing. Then what does he do again? He takes 15%, then he takes 35% to all the local government. Local government shares 35%, meaning 50% is off. Then federal government takes the remaining 50% and gives to all the states. Let me tell you how the states shares it. The states now take they have the one they call the equality.
Then how does the common man benefit from this? How does it,
It's for the
how do we feel the impact of this?
It's for the state. The states are agitating. The money gets to the state. Okay, does it translate to us? Let me also shock you. Before the removal of fuel subsidy, states we are getting less amount of money from the federal government. But after the removal of subsidy, the money tripled. Does it transcend down to this population, people in the society?
The artisans,
yes. Do we feel the effect? Do you know that state governors now, they have enormous amount of money they share? I mean, they get from the federal government monthly now because of increase, because of the removal of subsidy. And how do we benefit from it? As the whole states, most of all those states like Kogi, they are owing salaries. Most states. And most states that are poor.
And they have
huge amount of money they're getting from the federal government. So all those things is about the political class. It's not about the people.
Well, the truth of the matter is that we look forward to a time Nigeria will be accountable, and of course we see things, when you say there is a change, a trickle down to the common man.
Exactly.
This tax we are talking, most times is the civil servant that, because it is taken upfront from their salaries. They are the people that pay. Yesterday there was a joke somewhere. Somebody we met somewhere. Yes. The person introduced me as somebody that works in the ABS. They said, "Come and do advert." I said, "No, that they are going to start chasing them." The person now said, "Start paying tax, so go and pay your tax." So you see, most times is the civil servants that pay.
And not only business owners, they do, because state government, they have agencies that collect tax from business owners, and they go. If you put up a signpost outside for your business,
I think this would be a big topic for another day to talk about.
Even a branded vehicle, they will come for you.
Do not pay. Let's quickly run the Daily Times newspaper. That's the next paper we are looking at this morning. Warri Refinery returns, produces 125,000 barrels of oil per day. All right. Other stories in front of the Daily Times says that Babio charges judiciary on justice delivery. Tinubu praises NNPCL reopening Warri Refinery. Despite CBN's cashless policy, currency in circulation soars to 4.8 trillion naira. The diversification from oil on urgent economic necessity. Speaker Abbas talks about that. And Tinubu mourns former U.S. President Jimmy Carter. All right, these are some of the stories we are trending on the Daily Times newspaper.
It's still about the Warri Refinery, NNPC Tinubu praising NNPCL and all that. I hope that it will be, just like I said before, let it be real. According to Kari, let it be real this time. And let's have the effect, because not just being real, let's have the effect. You can't have two refineries working as they claim, and then we're still buying at a higher price. We're supposed to see a reduction in the price of petrol, because most of the way they're dragging Nigerian refinery operation and all that, if you go to Niger Delta, they are local boys, they have local refinery. They do all those things. They produce a petroleum product. What do they call it? the local refiner, the boys that goes to the creek and then they refine petroleum. It's not rocket science. But you know that most of all these are political class. When they come up, they tell us like, this thing, just like when Buhari was coming, Fashola and Co. say that giving us 24 hours electricity is not rocket science, that they will do it in 6 months and all that. The dollar will be 1 naira to $1 and all that, all those promises. And when they enter there, when they go there, you find out that everything changes. You're having petroleum product, it's not rocket science. You know, some countries, some boys do it in the creek. They refine product. If you go to Delta, Bayelsa and all that, you not even see petroleum products from NNPC. You not even see. You see the ones that local boys use their drums and all that to refine, and they transport it around most of even neighboring states. It's rampant there. So, but they are holding us. I don't know who is benefiting from there. I don't know who is benefiting, but somebody is actually benefiting. That is why the lingering issue of petroleum issues and all that. So if our refinery can be in operation and then the problem will be solved once and for all, I think it will be a good development. At least most of all these past presidents, if you come up and say, let me achieve this, you face one particular area, squarely, then the next president comes in and then face another. We have like 2 or 3 past democratic presidents, and if one of them have one agenda that they treated, definitely by now Nigeria will be Eldorado.
All right, can we look at diversification from oil and urgent economic necessity? You know, I've heard severally where Nigerians are crying out, give us enabling environment. Let's have electricity. Let's have good road networks that could enable us to transport our goods. Peradventure, I produce in the village. I could take my goods to the town for sale and all whatnot. So I don't know. Speaker Abbas, talking about this at this point in time, are they ready to give Nigerians, you know, to make the environment conducive enough for them to operate, to be able to diversify, as they're saying?
Well, I hope that they will think, in that direction, because let me tell you, the informal sector employs most of Nigerian population. The Nigerian GDP is, in fact, the informal sector contributes the larger percentage of Nigerian GDP. And
I don't know whether you've seen what God has done for this generation. Most of the children these days know how to do so many things on their own.
Of course.
You know?
And the issue is the environment that we are. How can you progress without electricity? And let me even also shock you now that the cost of electricity now is even so high now that if you are running business now, you find it difficult to break even. You find it so difficult to break even because the cost of electricity is high. Let me tell you, some countries, in the U.S. today, they still subsidize petrol and some other essential things that people need. You know, when you are trying to, let's take, for example, United Arab Emirates, they did not pay VAT for years. In fact, they started collecting VAT as at 2018 or thereabout. When you are trying to grow up, to grow country economically, when you are trying to grow your small and medium scale SME, when you are trying to push people out of poverty, you don't go on taxing them. You don't go on.
You allow them to stabilize.
You allow them to stabilize. Don't go on increasing basic amenities effortless. You increase the tariff. They're talking about increasing tariff again. Now, telecom tax, the telecommunication, they're trying to increase their listing by 2025. That they say that 1 gigabyte of data now will now be about 1,400. That means people will now stop coming online. Because data is kind of cheap now, so you see people coming online, people use it for business as well. But when these things, the essential things, there's no electricity, there's no other things, how can you stand as, and there's no guarantee of job.
All right, a lot of questions yearning for answers here. Nigerian Tribune is next on lineup. Let's see stories coming from the Nigerian Tribune. Warren firing again, let me just leave that out. We've talked about that enough. Nigeria, the burden, the prospect in 2025. Now retract inflammatory statement against Tinubu presidency, tells Bauchi governor. Southeast Development commissions 3 other regional agencies to spend 2.2 trillion naira in 2025. Egbemoda Obodo Olaito join list of Tribune columnists. Telecoms to commence service shedding if tariffs are not increased. Operations talking. Now, Oshun Faltif released from prison. 2027 alleged agreement in rotational presidency receptive. Kwankwaso speaking. Politics of new vice chancellor election at Uni Abuja. Okay, these are some of the stories we are trending on Nigerian Tribune. Right.
Politics of new vice chancellor selection at Uni Abuja. It's very laughable this time that
they are now calling it politics.
I'm telling you, political class they have infiltrated into a private academic system, and it's unfair. It's unfair. It's very wrong, and you find out that in fact every of our aspect of life now is being influenced by political class. Selecting vice chancellor of a university should be between the internal affair of the university and the governing council and all that.
They have a system running before. Yes, is it not hierarchy?
Yeah, of course.
They rise in rank and file.
Yes, and they know the most senior of their professor or whatever. They know the most senior. And just to...
And the qualification.
And the qualification. The policies say they have to advertise them. Internal people can apply, external can apply. Interview them. Whoever gets the bigger grade in terms of achievement and in terms of publication and all that gets the job. But you find out that politicians infiltrate into all those things. You see what happens in UNIZIC aspect and back and forth, even from the governing council. It's the politicians that select the governing council. And how would you think it will be free and fair? You know, anything you see, anywhere you see politicians in, definitely it's not going to be a very encouraging game.
All right.
And it's very shameful. They should leave it to the academicians.
For want of time, let's quickly run. The Daily Trust newspaper is next. 2025 budget, 20 MDAs to spend 14.3 billion naira on computers. Justice Ministry strips vehicles to gulp 2 billion naira. Experts, CSOs, ask National Assembly to scrutinize proposals. Tariff hike or service disruptions, telecom operators vow. Currency in circulation hits 4.8 trillion naira amidst cash squeeze. 2024 malnutrition epidemic, malaria, vaccination shaped health sector. And Warri Refinery, okay, we've seen that before. Now 7 die as hoodlums security operatives clash in Anambra. No deal with Atiku Obi on power sharing. Kwankwaso speaking. EFCC to freeze 91 accounts over alleged terrorism financing. And quickly we see the Guardian newspaper before we talk. We see the 2 remaining papers before we talk. On the Guardian, we have the Nigerians in diaspora from broken dreams to new global value chain. Also, other stories in front of the Vanguard reads higher education, more varsity or better quality. Nigerians anticipate end to fuel import as refinery capacity surges. Regulator insists on cost-based study before planned telcos tariff hike. They should allow this refinery to work before they stop importation so that they don't plunge Nigeria into another serious problem. Now, the Nation newspaper production resumes with diesel kerosene at Warri Refinery. Other stories, petrol, okay, the rider there, petrol soon to follow at 125,000 barrel per day facility. If it's it's remarkable way to end 2024, says Tinubu. 2027, I have nothing to do with Atiku Obi, says Kwankwaso. Nigeria's economy requires shift from oil, says House Speaker Abbas. We've seen that. Government targets 3 Mbpd oil production, says Lokbobiri. Presidency slams Bauchi governors' divisive rhetoric on tax reforms. Fubara presents 1.19 trillion estimate to Okojumbo-led assembly. Editorial advice that reloads the nation. All right, we've seen that this story before, talking about the what is going on in Rivers State. I don't know whether you can just talk about it a bit before we move on.
Well, the Rivers State issue, that is our political clause, what I was just talking about.
Shouldn't today end all these things and let them move to a new phase from 2025?
Well, they won't just give up. They don't give up. Politicians,
Really?
they hardly give up. And I'm so happy that Fubara is actually winning, because you can't just try to put the whole state in your pocket and then you feel that it's normal. Even, sometimes when they say one thing and they come up to do the other thing, the person at the center of all this, previously came to say that, once I leave office, I will never impose anybody. I will never have anything to do with the state. I will never do that. And see what is happening. They even went as far as withholding their monetary allocation to the state. And the governor went to court and all that, and court actually granted his request, and then the allocation was actually released and all that. So all these things, all the back and forth is going with the governor. The governor is going with his past this thing. It's because there has been no love lost between both of them. And before, when the past governor actually influenced his coming in as governor and all that, but along the line they fall apart. So these politicians will learn how to go. Once you have done 8 years, leave so another person can come and stop holding the state to hostage. It's quite unfortunate what is happening in that state. And now he has presented budget to only 3 members of this, because they have 27 members that are loyal to the past governor. And these things, I don't know how the debacle continues. I hope that this new year, they should try to mend fences, and then there should be a change, and try to call all their drama is tiring. They should work towards the interest of the state. That's what they should be after, is to make the state a better state. All this while, progress has been deterred in that state.
Okay.
It's unfortunate.
Do we look at the 2025 budget from the Daily Trust newspaper?
Yes, the 20 MDAs to spend 14.3 billion on computers. If you look at their last year budget, these computers will still be there. Last 2 years, purchase of computers will still be there. This is what is happening in Nigeria. And you find out that there's a recurring inclusion of items that has been previously budgeted in every budget. And some of those MDAs, they don't come to defend. The other time, National Assembly was saying that some of the NDAs, they couldn't come to defend their budget, how they were allocated, how they spend their money and all that.
They didn't come to defend it. And yes. What happened? Who was disciplined along the line?
Most of them, they don't. And the other year, they will still allocate.
And there's no checks and balances. When you don't come, nothing happens to you.
They will still allocate and approve their budget for the next fiscal year again, and nothing happens, except maybe if there's somebody that is actually maybe so much interested in whatever that's happening in the MDA, that means that maybe the rep will start calling. But all those things, that should be, because the last presidential election, one of the presidential candidates was saying that what we spend, in fact, do you know that in Nigeria, when someone secures a contract, a government contract, you first of all go to give Thanksgiving. You have not executed the contract. You have just secured the contract. And you find out that before the contract gets to the last person that will do the job, the money must have been shared and all that, and then get to the last person, the job will be poorly done. So it's better, it's high time we hold government accountable for everything that we do. It's not like that in Western world. If you approve 1 naira to execute this, that is exact amount.
Well, that's checks and balances. Otherwise, that's if it's a home, if it's an organization, if it's a state, if it's a nation, they are in serious trouble.
Of course,
when there is no accountability.
Let's talk of a small unit.
That's what I'm saying.
Even in the house.
I said if it's a home,
yes, because
it's an organization,
when a man
and
gives,
no checks and balances.
when a man gives the wife, maybe you want to cook soup, and you demand for 200,000, the man gives you 200,000 to cook soup, and then you come back, and the man says, let me see what you bought. He said, you shouldn't ask me. And the man has the right to know, because the amount you are calling for...
That's accountability.
Of course, but it's not there. Somebody will stand and say, no, leave this, they are doing well, and that's what we are seeing here.
All right, Nigerians, we can do better than we are doing. And this is actually where we're wrapping up the press review for this morning. I would like to thank you so much, Tochukwu Okafor, for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And that's it on the press review. We have more coming up on Good Morning Anambra Show. Do stay.